Welcome back, everybody. All across this great country, there is a conversation about the First Amendment, free speech, and it is in the middle of that battle that our next guest often finds himself. Joining us from the Freedom Foundation, he's the CEO, Aaron Withe. Aaron, great to have you back on the show.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me on.
You had an amazing op-ed recently titled "Government Unions Divert Dues to Leftist Politics." Talk a little bit about what that's about. I don't think a lot of Americans know that a lot of people in this country don't have a say over where their union dues go.
Yeah, that's right. Government unions are the number one contributors to liberal politicians in America. They take billions of dollars each year and divert those dollars into leftist policies and politicians like Joe Biden. The scandal of this is that this money is being taken from your everyday teachers and state workers and other government employees that they've worked for. This is money that belongs in their paychecks. It does not belong in these campaign coffers, but unions are forcibly taking this money and using it to fund a radical political agenda. So what we're doing at the Freedom Foundation is exposing this for one, but two, telling every single public employee in America that they have the rights to opt out of their union and stop paying union dues.
Yeah, what a great message to tell the American public. And just educating people is so important. No better place to study what the left and unions are doing than California. Earlier this week, you had a press release entitled "California Union Forges Another Signature to Keep a Member Locked into Paying Dues." Tell us that story. I think it's really a great example of what's going on in this battle.
Yeah, so we have 15 cases actually on the West Coast in California, Oregon, and Washington State, where we've actually caught unions forging the signatures of public employees to take around $1,100 a year out of their paychecks. So what's happening is these union members are opting out of their union. They're choosing to leave. But then what's happening is the unions are going in, making membership cards, forging these people's names and signatures so that unions like SEIU, which is one of the country's largest unions, can take $1,100 a year from these people. And again, this is money that isn't going towards benefiting these people. It's going towards an inherently political agenda. For me and for us at the Freedom Foundation, it shows just how desperate these unions are becoming in recent years.
Yeah, it's an amazing story when you hear that. I mean, that's fraud. There should be prosecution. You're basically taking money by fraud. Is anyone investigating that from a criminal standpoint?
Yeah, they should be. That's why the Freedom Foundation has 15 cases against these government unions. In some states, we've been able to bring RICO claims. For those unfamiliar with the claim, that was a legal maneuver famously used to go after the mob. Yeah. I mean, these aren't just isolated incidents. If it's happening once, it's happening 15 times as we've found, we know it's happening at a higher level. And judges across America should be looking at this. And I believe that judges, even on West Coast states in Washington, Oregon, and California, they're going to take a hard look at this, and they're going to have to make a really difficult decision on whether to prosecute these government unions for criminal behavior, which it's my opinion that they should be.
Yeah, this is an important issue, and I think the more people are educated, maybe some even union workers don't know that they have opportunities. That's what makes what you do so important at the Freedom Foundation. Many years ago, I think a lot of people joined the unions and said, hey, it's good. It gives the working man and woman a chance to get a fair contract and get fair pay. But the unions have become these giant political machines, and they continue to lurch further and further to the left, often no longer resembling the values of the working people that they're supposed to represent. How much has the leftward lurch of unions made more union workers want to say, I'm out, I'm not spending my money on this stuff?
Well, government unions, as you referenced at the beginning of time 100 years ago, I mean, they were representing coal miners. They were representing children that were forced to do child labor. I mean, they were doing inherently noble things to save the working man, the working class. Nowadays, that doesn't exist. I mean, especially in the government union sector, you can't tell me that teachers' unions are saving anybody's lives. In fact, if you look at the past 2 years, they've done everything to make our lives worse. They've kept our kids out of schools. They forced them to wear masks. They forced the remote learning upon people. And now we're finding out what you and me, John, probably knew from the start, which is that we never should have been keeping kids out of schools because of COVID. We never should have been doing any of these things. In fact, we should have been, for their mental health, we should have actually been helping them get back into schools as quickly as we possibly could. But the teachers' unions were the number one hindrance to stopping getting our kids back in schools. And that's what parents have been awakened to in the past couple of years, which is why we saw what happened in Virginia with Glenn Youngkin. I mean, there's a race that everybody disregarded, but parents reawoken in Virginia. They came out, they voted, and ultimately got the win there. I mean, same things have happened. School boards across the country. In San Francisco, just a couple months ago, we saw 3 union-backed liberal candidates lose their school board seats because parents, again, voted to get rid of the union-backed candidate. So we're seeing a revolution across America today that is inherently anti-teachers union specifically.
Yeah, I was at the grocery store last night, and I pulled up behind the car parked, and in the back of the windshield was a little bumper sticker that said, "I woke a mama bear, and I really regret it." And I think I know exactly what they were talking about. It's amazing. Yeah. This disconnect that teachers not only weren't representing the interests of the children at the time, but now are trying to take more and more of the parents' responsibilities away from children. How big a debate is that? We have about a minute left, but I know that's another part of the teacher union's agenda that really concerns parents.
Yeah, they want this nanny state. Ultimately, the left believes that they should be the ones to take care of our kids, not the parents. We've seen some Democrats slip up and say that publicly, perhaps where they shouldn't have. I'm thinking of Kamala Harris and Terry McAuliffe up in Virginia. They want America to be a nanny state. They want people to be relying on government for services like being able to take care of their kids. And it's inherently anti-American. It's an agenda that should be shut down. And frankly, it's an agenda that is being shut down thanks to the parents seeing exactly what these teachers' unions have planned for them.
Yeah, so important. Aaron, we got about 20 seconds left. What's the best way for people to engage Freedom Foundation?
freedomfoundation.com. Sign up to our emails, follow us on social media, share our stuff. This is a message that we need to get out to every public employee in America.
Yeah, you guys are doing important work, just educational data work. People can make up their own mind, but you're making that data available. It's so important. Aaron, we really appreciate you a lot. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, John.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to go a little Hollywood, or maybe I should say anti-Hollywood.